Philly Sports Now is back, and we have a lot of ground to cover. Hello everyone, welcome to Philly Sports Now, a Philly fan podcast. My name is Zack, and Andrew is not here today, but we are back to talk about Philly sports. Now, we've been away for about a month. Apologies, usual life happenings, and we're here to get back into it, especially with the Philly season. I'm not going to say wrapping up, but we're getting pretty close to the end game. You get into September, which we're way closer to September than I'd like to say, but you get close to September, and we're in the end game, folks. Now, Andrew's not here today. He's too busy preparing for his fantasy football draft, one of 18, I think, and he's going to be back, don't worry, probably next week. I assume very soon, but we'll see him soon. In the meantime, it's just me. I'm going to give you a quick rundown of everything that's happened in the Phillies side of things in the past month. I'm not going to talk Eagles because I'm going to be honest, I have not watched a preseason game. I don't do it. If you've watched our show, this shouldn't be a surprise, but the preseason is just, look, if you're a level of excitement just watching a preseason game, then kudos to you. All the power to you. But I'm enjoying the Phillies right now, and I mean, I'm getting ready, like, hoping to have people over for the Eagles game party, you know, hoping that opener where Eagles are going to go and smash Dallas. I am so excited for the Eagles, but we're just not talking Eagles right now. I know there are things to talk about. We'll get there. We're going to wait for Andrew for some Eagles talk. As far as the Phillies go, I'm here to give you some updates in the past month. Kind of, you know, my opinion on things. I assume you've heard these things before, but let's talk about. There's some good and some bad. There's the last 3 days has actually been extremely exciting in a not good way. So before we do, I know we usually say like, comment, and subscribe, which sure, why not? But specifically today, since I have the whole screen, you can see more of my backdrop. You can see my Spider-Man background over there, my bookshelf to my left. But, nope, I forget how cameras work. My lightsaber's up here. If you can name one of the lightsabers in the comments, like who uses it, I mean, I don't know, gold star to you. But let me know if you know any of those lightsabers in the comments. Anyway, back to the Phillies. The Phillies, since you have last seen me on Philly Sports Now, have gone 17-11. They've had a 60% win rating. Now, I honestly have not listened to the Fanatic or WIP or even much of the Gargano show in this meantime, so I don't know if they've been panicking per Philly norm, but I do think it's been a great month. You know, the Phillies have been able to pull some major wins. I have all the series here, and we're going to go through that, and it's been a big deal. Now, the talk, of course, is all about Johan Duran, and I got to tell you, nothing short of a stud. Some health thing, we'll get into it, but it's all been great. It's all been great, super excited. But let's just talk about the series right now and what it kind of means overall picture, who they played, who they lost against, what it means. And so I'm going to go through that now. Let's go through the losses first. Let's just get that out of the way. No one likes talking about losses. Let's just get them over with. They lost against, and I'm not going in an order that would make sense. So, you know, they'll try to follow it on the schedule. But they lost against the Cincinnati. Nope. It wasn't the Bengals, dude. It wasn't the Bengals. They lost against the Cincinnati Reds. Reds are good. They're fine. It's like, I don't know. I could see that one. I've gone either way. Should have been a win. Yeah, but they're good. The two losses that I really want to talk about, because I feel like it's a bit of, you need to hear Philly Sports Now's view versus, I don't know. Maybe that's just it. Maybe you need that positivity back in your life for your Philly sports. Let's talk Washington. They just finished the Washington series not too long ago, and that was a tied series at 2 apiece. Now, I'm not worried about this. I talk about this time and time again. Washington is a division rivalry. I know Washington is possibly the worst team in the National League. Let's real quick check the Pirates versus Washington. Pirates are doing better. So Washington, worst team in the National League. Oh no, that would go to the Rockies, but whatever. Rockies are really, really bad. Washington's the worst team that we care about, I guess. There's things to division rivalries. I'm happy with a split there. I think that's one of those things that you have to be happy with. You have a 4-game series, you take 2 and you walk away. You shake hands, you move on. It's when it's with a division rivalry, I don't care how bad they can be. That can go either direction. It's how it works. I have always said that. So I'm not mad about the Washington split. I think it makes sense. I think it's unfortunate, but Phillies have a winning series or a winning record in the past month. Not too worried about it. Chicago White Sox. That one was interesting, right? The Chicago White Sox series is one that you're like, you go into that series and you're just like, are the Phillies going to blow this? And they did. They didn't get swept. I distinctly remember that conversation. But the White Sox did win 2-1 that series. I don't know how much weight to put on this, but that series was happening around the trade deadline, and there was a lot of talk from the locker room side of things about how anxious the players were about the trade deadline because the Phillies needed some help. Offensively, defensively, everything. We know it. We've talked about it. Listen to our past episodes. I think that really impacted this series. Now, mind you, we got Duran on the 30th when we lost against the White Sox. Whatever. But I feel like as far as a major vibes team goes with the Phillies, that White Sox series, it was like not just the fans were looking somewhere else, but also the players. Their mind was elsewhere. And that elsewhere was who were the Phillies going to acquire by the trade deadline. So it's crazy. I actually would be, I don't know how you guys feel. Let me know in the comments. But I am more upset personally about tying to Washington. And I'm not upset about tying to Washington. That's just, if I'm going to compare Washington versus Chicago, that's how I would rank it. The Chicago loss didn't really bug me because it was the same exact time as the trade deadline. Okay, let's move on to the wins. So, there were 5 series wins in total for the Phillies in the past month. And I'm just going to kind of run through them here and there. Boston, first of all. Boston's a good team. Boston Red Sox is a good team. A good series to win. Gotta love it. New York Yankees. New York Yankees are still contenders in the AL. They're good. They're not as good as... Who is above them right now? I just saw it. Oh, I can't remember. But Yankees are still a good team. They still have a good record. So, this was a good series win. Be happy about that. We beat Baltimore. Baltimore stinks. Orioles stink. No one cares. We beat the Rangers. The Phillies beat the Texas Rangers. And it's funny to me, the Rangers 2 years removed from their World Series, right? And they're very average this year. So, I have to be happy beating a World Series winning team, beating a Texas team. Overall, I'm happy as a Phillies fan. It was a good series win. But the one we really want to talk about, that was a sweep, by the way, so that's always good. But the one we really want to talk about, the Phillies beat Detroit. Detroit Tigers, the best team in the MLB right now. The best team in the MLB. To go and beat the Detroit Tigers is oh my God. If you thought I was World Series or bust before that, I'm so excited. So excited. And that was back at the bank. That was when Duran came in. That was such a huge series. And it was so awesome. And it meant, I think, a lot to have them go win Friday and Sunday, that series, to establish not only that the Phillies were capable of winning against the best team in the league, but also that these guys were ready to go. And it was just such a fun experience. And I guess with this, I'm going to go into the Duran trade. The Phillies gave up Abel and Oh, a prospect. Eduardo Tate. I hope I said that right. I think the biggest thing, though, is Abel. He's got a lot of potential. I don't think he's played since he's been traded now. I don't know. The Phillies are in win now. I don't think we've said it a lot lately. We've said it a lot before this season. We said it a lot in the offseason. The Phillies are, for sure, win now. Going after Duran and giving up a major prospect in Abel was the right call. Because this was the defensive push you needed to have a perfect, and I mean perfect, closer. And when I say perfect, again, he's gone 4 for 4 saves since he's been in Philadelphia. Yes, Luna, 4 for 4. Just like a Wendy's meal. Just like a Philly fan. That's right. Talking to my cat. Now, but also talking to you. Duran has done everything perfectly. He is exactly what the Phillies needed. Unfortunately, Duran got hurt this past Friday on August 15th. He was hit by a ball. Since then, x-rays seem to be negative of anything super bad happening. I don't have here when he's expected to come back, but he should be okay. Duran has been nothing short of awesome. He's been great to watch. The fact that the Twins also signed over the rights to his opening, his intro, it's such a class act. I gotta say thank you to the Twins, to Minnesota, and also Andrew was there for Duran's first save. So if there's any data about Philly sports now, Andrew was there for that premiere. But anyway, jokes aside, he's been great. But while we talk about health, let's move on to the unfortunate major shakeup in the Phillies world right now. Very recent. Zack Wheeler had a blood clot and had to go through emergency surgery. It was a successful surgery. However, Zack Wheeler is now most likely out for the remainder of the year. Talked to some people today who worked in medical field who confirmed that, and I'm everyone's, I'm not, I know people, you know people, confirmed that when you put on blood thinners after a blood clot like this, after surgery like this, it's not something you can hasten, is the best way to put it. It's kind of, you have to let it run its course, and with these all-stars, with these superstars, these gods among men, when you talk about sports players, right? And you talk about people who have these injuries that, you and me, it might take a solid 9 to 12 months to recover from, and somehow these guys are back at it in 90 days, right? Just that's how they do it. They have the money, they can get the best of the best surgery, and they can have the best and the best of rehab. But unfortunately, my understanding is that when it comes to this, there's just not much you can do, because it's the heart, and you don't want to. I mean, if you mess up, that's the biggie, folks. That's game over, and it's scary. And I think you have to think about this from a personal perspective and a personal point of view. Is that Zack Wheeler is, another man. As much as I like to joke that they're gods among men, he's a man that has this very serious thing happen to him, and the last thing I want is for him to go on blood thinners and try to come back in October. Way too soon from what I understand. And God forbid something terrible happens. So I think it's the unfortunate truth. There's even whispers of, does he come back at all? I don't really want to talk about that. That's a world I can't predict. I can't think about. I can't even. No Zack Wheeler next year is just a sin in the Phillies world. But as far as this year goes, I think we have to accept that he's just not coming back. And I'll say, as the optimistic I am, I think his injury is the first time this season I doubted the Phillies World Series chances. I truly have been ride or die with this team. And I think this team has what it takes to go to the World Series. But I think you need Wheeler to win it. And I'm pretty scared, pretty upset. We'll see. We just got to keep watching the next game, right? And I hope Zack Wheeler, perfect recovery. I hope to see him back next year. But I think we have to sit here and watch the Phillies, who are still a dominant team, and they need to pick it up. You lose defense, you got to pick up offense. So it's going to come to the bats. I know Trey Turner has been a hitting machine. Harper's been hitting home runs back at it. I think he had 2 career maximums or something. Giant home runs, 440 feet and 448 feet. That was against the Mariners. These guys aren't stopping. They aren't going to let this stop. This might shake them up just like it shakes you and me up, but the Phillies aren't going to stop. Phillies are currently taking on Seattle. We have 1 win under the belt already. They're starting the game now for the second one. We've got Washington coming up again at the bank. Would love a sweep against Washington at the bank. That would be awesome. It would be quite the bounce back from the tie they took, right? And then after that, you have the Mets. I'm becoming less scared of the Mets as the season goes on. And hey, that might not be accurate. Zack Wheeler, again, notwithstanding, but I don't know. And I think that's all I got to say. I know the Phillies also had another trade acquisition, but we basically got Kepler's replacement from the Twins. Glad to see the Phillies are where they are as far as the record goes, as far as where they've been performing. It's really, it's crazy, but the Zack Wheeler injury, the Duran injury, these are all so recent that we really haven't seen the impact of them yet. Again, Duran should be back, so I hope we don't really see an impact from that one. But the Wheeler impact we will certainly see in the next week. So, regarding Seattle and Washington both being in Philadelphia, I think the real question is, how do we perform against the Mets come later? So keep an eye on that series. I think that's going to be a big one. And we'll see what happens next. So thank you, everyone, for listening to Philly Sports Now, a Philly fan podcast. You can find us on Spotify. If you haven't, make sure you follow us there as well. It means a lot as we try to rake our numbers up. I know it's been a while since we've been on here, so I understand. But if you tell everyone that we're the best, most optimistic, happiest Philly Sports Now podcast there is, I mean, that's just the truth. So thank you, everyone, for listening to Philly Sports Now. As always, go Phils. Good night.